Flinn was born on December 1st in 1923. Understanding that he would soon be drafted into the war, he decided to enlist himself into the Army. Harold served in World War II as a sergeant of the Signal Corps deception outfit in Europe.
541st Bomb Squadron, if I remember it correctly, and we worked on radios and airplanes. You had to set they'd give you the coordinates and everything, and you had to set the receivers in those days. Nothing was automatic or anything, and so we up and did that, and I liked that real well. And but then I saw this chance about getting college training. It was called ASTP, Army Specialized Training Program, and so I signed up for that and got in it, and went from Philadelphia to I was in school in Philadelphia, radio school, and then I went to Flinn, Oregon, to the Air Force. Then I had a chance to go to college, and that's when I went to Illinois College, and that was so funny because all the fellas said Illinois College, and I never heard of Illinois College in my life. And when we got to Illinois College, here's an all-girls school, McMurray, there, also in town, and that's where I met Ruth Ann. So. And then from there, I got orders to go to Pine Camp, New York. Went to Fort Monmouth first, and then Pine Camp, New York. And we were a selected group. And so then I went over to Europe from there.
Harold was assigned to serve in Europe. However, his officers discovered a problem before he was shipped out.
I never had any boot camp. They thought I had it because I was in the reserve before that, see, but I was in an inactive reserve, and so when I got to Flinn, Oregon, they looked at my records and they said, well, you've got to have some basic training. And so about 4 days or 5 days I had basic training where you just exercised, I guess. I don't know. We never did anything. So I never really had any basic training.
Harold received leave before being deployed. At age 20, he went back home and married his college sweetheart, Ruth Ann.
I did get leave before we went overseas. I got leave and I came home and we got married then. And then 6 days later, I was on the boat, or 8 days later, something like that.
Although Ruth Ann was of age to be married, Harold had to have his father sign for him.
I had to get my dad's permission. In those days, Ruth Ann was 18, and she didn't need any permission to get married, but I had to have my daddy come down to the courthouse in Chicago to sign for me.
After his training, Harold departed from Pine Camp, New York, and landed in Glasgow, Scotland. From there, his outfit proceeded into Stratford-on-Avon, where they departed for Utah Beach in France.
We landed and went by ship, and we landed in Glasgow, Scotland, and then we went into Avon. Stratford-on-Avon is where we went. Yeah. And then from there we left for France and landed on Utah Beach.
Harold had the privilege of being in charge of a half-track group during the war. Even though it was challenging, some of his most memorable times were with his crew.
I was assistant driver then because there was just two of us and we needed the gunner anyway. And so we went out that afternoon and it was 0 out. Oh, it was so cold. And the half-track broke down. The only time it ever broke down when I was driving it. And we had to stay there all night till they came and picked us up because it was secret equipment. And I kept saying, let's blow it up, let's blow it up. It was so cold. Oh, my land, we shadow boxed and we did everything, Phil and I did, to try and keep warm. And they finally, by daylight, they came with a wrecker to pick us up. But I remember that more than anything.
Harold Flinn was a member of the deception outfit in World War II and took part in one of the first deception operations of the war.
Patton hit somebody in Italy, I think it was, slapped somebody, General Patton that would be. And so he got pulled out and they put him in England, and Pas-de-Calais is the closest place to France from England. And that's where they thought Hitler thought sure that's where we were going to come across the channel, so they put him in England in charge of that. And so that was the first deception there was really in World War II. And then we were there and we went across and we had loudspeakers and we could portray an armored division. And we'd go in one place and the armored would go through another place, but we'd draw them a day before really. they went in, and so, and then when they started shelling us, we'd pull out pretty quick, and so. Then one time we went in, I think it was Breston, and we had some German with us, and he tried to, talking in German, tried to get him. I remember we used to laugh about it. German, lay down your arms or something, I don't know, it was real funny, the thing was with it. But that's the only time we ever used any vocal trying to get somebody to surrender, though. And that didn't work. So, at Brest was a stronghold and everything, and that was the first thing we tried to do, is get into Brest, and we set up and everything, and we had a small tank outfit with us, and we were making the tracks for reconnaissance planes and everything. Night Check Charlie, we always called them, because he always flew over just at dusk and everything and checking us. And we were listening on our radios and everything, and we could hear the tankers getting hit and getting burned up and everything. That was the first experience we had of warfare, really, and we failed at Brest. We never did get through. I think Brest stayed until the end of the war because it was such a fortification.
Deception was not exempt from Army traditions, as Harold recalled. The Deception troops often had to change the appearance of their uniforms.
Just a different Army outfit, completely. You didn't mix with other outfits at all. We up and changed your arm patches. In the military, I don't know, you probably remember, you always had an arm patch on of what outfit you were in. Well, we had to be a good seamstress because we had to keep changing those patches all the time, whatever outfit we were going to be in. The 6th Armored, on landing at D-Day, got shot up pretty bad, and so we were the 6th Armored Division, filling in for them quite a bit.
Along with their uniforms often being manipulated, the Army's vehicles went under similar transformations.
Your vehicles had a stencil on of what outfit you were with, and that stencil was changed all the time, and the artists that were in camouflage, they were the ones that did the stenciling and everything on the half-tracks.
Half-track vehicles were commonly used in the war, and Harold was very familiar with them.
Well, it's got wheels on the front and like tank tracks on the back, and it was four-wheel drive, you could say. The front wheels you could put in drive also, just like trucks today and everything. Then they would put up signs when you got all together like that. They'd put signs out on the road or something, you know, the code names to come in there that belonged to other companies and all. So we were always different. And even when I got discharged, I was discharged in the 28th Infantry Division, is what they put me in. Everybody was discharged in a different outfit rather than what you were in overseas or anything, just for secrecy.
They even went so far as creating dummies to mislead the enemy.
Had rubber dummies that they blew up and put camouflage nets over them, so the reconnaissance aircraft from Germany could fly over, and they'd think here was a whole armored division now and everything there. And we did the audio part for them, and we had wire recorders. That's the first time, you know, wire recorders came out, and that was way before tape recorders. And we took the wire recorders, and we had 2 vans with us that had all the recordings in it and everything from big, I don't know. Anyway, they put them on these wires, and we had a cartridge that we'd set in the thing to play it. And there was a generator in each half-track, in the back of each half-track, and then there was the speakers that you had to crank up. It had a canvas cover over so nobody could know what was in that half-track. And in the half-track, of course, there's some pictures here. I had a .50 caliber machine gun on the turret, on the passenger side of the half-track, with a gunner stood. So there was a driver and a gunner, and then I was called a operator, the operator of the audio equipment. And then we did a lot of, the half-track I had metal horns in it, on it, and speakers on it, and we did a lot of vocal and building bridges and everything, and we built bridges over the Rhine and over the Moselle River, and I don't know, and the recordings they made were so accurate you could hear them hammering and swearing and everything, by gosh, building these bridges. They were pontoon bridges. What a pontoon bridges is a raft, a rubber raft, and then they put planks across it, is what it was. And it was just interesting to go in and do that, and it saved a lot of lives because they put the other bridge down below and we had drawn them all up here, so it really worked real good for bridges.
Harold remembered the work as being lonely, even though he was always with his group. Due to the top-secret nature of deception, friendships were never able to be close.
Because it was so secret and everything that we never talked about anything, really. We kept quiet, because heck, if it got out, you were going to get, the Germans were going to get you, by gosh. They know you didn't have the defenses. You had rubber guns and rubber tanks instead of real tanks and guns, artillery pieces, so you really didn't talk.
Despite being in combat most of the time, they were allowed leisure activities with food and entertainment.
Oh, well, overseas it was, in the States I didn't mind it. It was pretty good, you know, because they had, but overseas now you had K rations most of the time, which was a box of food. I liked that better because it had cheese and crackers in it. And then they had K rations that were cans, and they were beans and, oh, I don't know what else was in K rations and all. But that's what we ate most of the time, because we were always away from our cooks. And our cooks were scared the minute they landed, so we didn't see much of them. But we were fortunate because we had a radio, you know, with our radio equipment and everything, and the half-track and everything, and we could listen to radio once in a while and we'd get a little music on. Well, yeah, a USO show once in a while we'd go to, went to a few of those. USO was United Service Organization. And
Harold and his wife back home, Ruth Ann, were fortunate enough to have each other. They were always thinking and doing gestures for each other, even while being worlds apart.
Gave us a carton of cigarettes every week, and I always sold mine for, what it was, $20 I think I could get for a carton of cigarettes. And I sent the money home, and so Ruth Ann had saved quite a bit of money when I got home.
He told many memorable stories about the war. Upon the day of liberation of a French town his crew had come across, Harold met a French woman who presented him with a gift he still cherishes today.
And when the town was liberated, after you went through a town and chased the Germans out and everything, they quick put up all their flags and everything and was celebrating, and think of where they kept them during the war. I mean, while the German occupied them, they had to have everything hidden or else they'd get killed.
While Harold's outfit was in France, he was upon yet another town in ruin, but a church still standing amidst tragedy surely was not there by chance or coincidence.
Right after we landed at Utah Beach, let's see, there was 3 Catholics in our half-track. Phil and Chet were Catholics, and then our first sergeant of our platoon was a Catholic, and so he found a church, and we went to church, went to Mass right after we landed there, and you had to climb over. It had been bombed so bad and everything, and was on the beach, and we had to climb over all the debris and everything, but the altar and everything was perfectly intact. I think it's so funny, you know, it'd be bombed and everything, and it saved the altar and everything, and so, and there was a French priest there that said Mass. We didn't understand it, but it was a nice feeling.
After many months, Harold learned the good news of the ending of the war.
When the war ended, we were overseas. We were still in Germany then. And right away, the outfit divided up, and they went and stayed. Most of the outfit went to a DP camp, a displaced person camp. These people were put in they didn't have any place to live or stay or anything. They put them in big camps and fed them and everything. And our outfit went and fed these people, worked in the kitchen, fed them and everything. And I went on detached service with 2 other people. We had a Jeep, and we went around and set up antennas. And this outfit came over, the minute the war ended, they came over, and it would put up a telephone system all over Germany a lot like our cell phones today, but they put up antennas and use radios back and forth, and you don't ever hear anything about that outfit. And I said they really worked to get that all set up and everything. And we traveled all over Germany putting up antennas and setting up their equipment. So, and then we got orders, I can't remember where it was, way deep in Germany. We got orders that the outfit was leaving and we better get back if we wanted to go with them. And so, boy, we left right that day. Was sent to Percy Jones General Hospital to get discharged. And Ruth Ann was living in Chicago, and got on a train and came to Chicago. And that was it. We're ready to start a life, finally, after being gone for over a year.
After years of secrecy, Harold finally got the recognition he and all of his other fellow soldiers deserved with the release of deception information from World War II in the 1990s. He was given several medals for his service.
I had, what, three medals or 4 medals, something like that, but they all were issued after we got released. What was it, 95? Mm-hmm. About 95, they released all the secret things from World War II. Before that, we never talked about a thing or never could have a reunion or anything. And then they released it all, and then they issued us some medals. And then when we went to toured France, then I got the French medal, I believe, medal from France.
Harold and his beloved wife took a trip back to Europe when he was awarded these medals, where he was happy to share the journey with her.
We went on the 50th anniversary. We went all over every place I'd been over there, and we were in Stratford-on-Avon in England, and we rented bicycles and rode out to the camp where I was at when we were in England, and went across the channel, and what did we do? Get a Utah beach, I think it was, we got off on, right the same beach and everything. It was quite a tour we went on.
Harold carefully preserved his artifacts from the war. He has pictures, letters, cards, and even toilet paper.
This was the toilet paper that you had overseas. It's just brown, and so it couldn't be white because of aerial reconnaissance, by gosh, seeing it on the ground or anything. Nothing was white over there. That was Army Experimental Station, is what it was called, and that was our arm insignia. We've got a lapel pin like that now, where you thumb your nose at the devil, I guess.
Harold looks back on his experience as being exceptionally challenging, but ultimately he gives Harry Truman credit for the fortunate ending to the war.
I always go out and say that I think an awful lot of Harry Truman coming in and dropping the atomic bomb, because we came back to the States to get ready to go to Japan. We were going over to Japan, and we were there when the bomb was dropped, when President Harry Truman dropped the bomb on Japan and everything, and the war ended right then and there. And I think that was one of the best things that a president ever did, because he saved millions of troops, by gosh.
Upon starting this project, we knew it would take a lot of time and hard work. We had no idea, however, how rewarding our experiences would really be. Harold Flinn was a veteran of World War II, but through the makings of our project, he has become so much more to us. He and the soldiers who risked their lives in the 40s are now real, living examples of true heroism. Through all of his stories, it is obvious that what they experienced oftentimes exceeded their call of duty and their loyalty to the United States. We would like to give our deepest thanks to Harold Flinn and to all the other soldiers who so nobly sacrificed their time, efforts, and sometimes lives. It is evident that history is not a dormant object. It does not sit in books on shelves or in forgotten documents read long ago. History lives on every single day in the lives of these undaunted men, and for that we are truly grateful.